Hello everyone, my name is Eva Flores and today I will be presenting this video for the Master's in Education class, Social Justice and Educational Equity. I will be answering the question of how was critical pedagogy experienced or not experienced in my own educational background, how critical pedagogy impacts my current teaching practice, and how critical pedagogy has had an impact internationally. In my personal educational experience, critical pedagogy was and was not taught. I have no shame in saying that I do not have the typical educational background of a master's in education candidate. I was a special education student from the ages of 5 to 18. Due to my diagnoses of Turner syndrome, dyslexia, and ADHD. I went to school with students of very varying ability levels. And because of the variance in student ability levels where I went to school, critical pedagogy was and was not taught. Critical pedagogy was taught in the sense that all of my teachers very clearly wanted to have a pedagogy that was student-centered and wanted to have a pedagogy that differentiated instruction when needed for the more advanced kids in the classes, but that also didn't make it feel like the disability was the end of the world for the students that were struggling more to grasp the material. And so that was a very hard thing to balance, and I'm amazed that my teachers did it as well as they did. Critical pedagogy was not taught in the schools that I went to, in the sense that because of the variance of ability levels in the classes, we couldn't always have some of the more nuanced, meaty conversations that one usually thinks of having when you think of critical pedagogy, right? Like where I went to high school, we definitely did not have meaty conversations about LGBTQ, racism, ableism, or any of that, because some of the students I went to school with just could not process that or keep up with it. In my current practice, critical pedagogy impacts me by making me very aware of my students' different cultures. In my future classroom, I definitely want to make sure students feel at home, telling me what their culture is, representing that to the class, and just generally being okay with being themselves and being different. I also want to make sure that I have very good representation in my future classroom. I know that a very big issue we have as teachers today is that a lot of different groups and minorities just are not well represented in schools. Disability is not very well represented in schools. Racism is still not very well talked about. And so to me, it is important that those things are represented and discussed in the books that my kids will be reading and in the videos that my kids will be watching. I was not able to find very much on how critical pedagogy has had an impact internationally. I was able to find one article about an English class in Finland that worked on reading books that represented different minorities and backgrounds. I found that to be very powerful and exciting. I would say the big impact of critical pedagogy for everybody who practices it is that it just brings sort of a general awareness of human difference to you and to your classroom. That's all for now. Thank you so much for listening.